Are you a foster parent, or have you considered ever becoming a foster parent? Well, if you have, I want to share with you my experience and what made me want to become a foster parent. There are a lot of children out there waiting just for you. Hi, welcome to Kathy's Corner. I am so glad that you have decided to tune back in with me again to hear my experience as becoming a foster parent. I am just excited to share this opportunity with anyone that is thinking about becoming a foster parent. When I became a foster parent, they didn't have groups or anybody that wanted to talk about the experience. And that was about 25 years ago when I became a foster parent for the very first time. And they always said that you had to learn as you go. So when I asked my husband to become a foster parent, we had 3 other children that he had through a previous marriage, and I had no natural children. So at that particular time, I was 40 years old. Don't even think I don't look that good. No, I'm just kidding. But I was in my 40s at that time, and I was like, Lord, you know, I just don't believe that you're not going to give me a child, or, you know, a little baby or something of that nature. And don't you know, God heard my cry and he heard my plea. And they were doing a foster care class, and one of my coworkers said, they're doing a foster care class in Harlem, New York. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should go. I went to 2 classes. That was it, 2 classes. And that evening that I came home, what do you think happened? They sent me 2 children. And I was like, wait a minute, you know, I don't know nothing about birthing no babies. You know, I thought about the Gone with the Wind lady. And so one child was in the hospital because he was asthmatic. And then the other 2 children that they sent me, I was just in awe. Who on God's earth would allow babies to be walking around, you know, by them without a mother and a father? And when they brought those babies to me, I just laid in the floor and I cried. And I couldn't believe how precocious and how beautiful. These babies were beautiful. So I got the 2 guys, I got the girl and the boy, and I was like, okay. So then they kept telling me that I had one that was in the hospital and he would be coming home in 2 days. And I just couldn't wait. I kept asking the little ones, I said, how big is he? How does he look? Is he a little baby? He was about 9 months, 10 months old. When this little boo-boo came to me, he was huge. He was such a big, chubby little boy, and I just laid on the floor. And when he saw me, the first words out of his mouth was mama. And I cried. I mean, this baby probably said, did they drop me off to a lunatic? I cried and I sat in that floor, and just to think about it, it just brings water up in my eyes. And do you know, those 3 kids wind up turning into 7. And the going joke was I was going to be Mother Hale. Mother Hale was the woman in Harlem that, you know, received all of the crack babies. And I couldn't believe that people literally left babies. And here I was, a woman that didn't have natural children. That thing messed with me in my spirit and in my heart for many years. I never would say it to anybody. And after the kids, you know, I began to talk to the social workers and the caseworkers and everything. And then I just decided I'm taking my kids to Disney World. I think it was about 2 months after I got them, I took them to Florida. On the bus, mind you, I had my children packed and we were ready to go on the bus, me and my 3 children. And I took them to Disney World, and we just got to know one another, and we got to bond with each other. And that made me fulfilled as a mother, as a woman. And then when I came back, and then they told me they had 4 more, no, 5, I think it was 4 more. And I said, okay, I'll open my house out for the 4 more. And my husband was like, wait a minute now, are you sure that that's what we're going to do? But when you have a heart for children and love for people, you go the extra mile of the way. Now, mind you, I had worked with the children's parents in the homeless shelter. So I was already a part of their family. I was already the nana that they didn't have, or the grandmother that they had and didn't know about. So what I did was, okay, I opened my heart and my house to the 4 children that I didn't even know. Because let me tell you the other secret. And people don't tell you this, a lot of times you are housing the children, and when their parents, which you would love for them to go back to their parents if their parents get their life together. And they kept telling me that my 3 little babies were going back to their parents. So I said, okay, so I kept my mind open and my heart open. And then they decided to tell me that there was 4 more children that would never be going back to their parents. So I said, okay, so I'll take them, and when these guys go back, then I won't have an empty house. It never worked out that way. The distance became, you know, with the parents not making the visits, whatever reason that was. And so we just began to bond, and they began to be such a part of my family. They began to love me. I began to love them even more. The agencies got angry because they didn't expect, that's the only other thing that I want to be very specific with. They don't expect you to really love these children. They expect you to take the check, and then something happened, they can be re-entered into the system, but not on my watch. These children were loved because why? Because I had a mother void, and they had to fulfill it for me. So we decided that we're going to adopt. You know, down the road, my husband kept saying, well, are we going to adopt? I said, yes, we are, you know, and I'm so grateful that even we had 8, because there was another one, and he had to leave. He had to leave because he had so many issues that we weren't equipped for it. And that's the other thing. Make sure, like I said in my last video, that you take all of the classes that's necessary. And the reason for that is simple. You take the classes because the children comes with so much baggage. Some of them have been molested, some of them have been abused, some of them have been starved. There are so many dynamics that you will never experience, that you will never be able to learn unless you do it on the job training. I have experienced so much through the eyes and through the spirit of my children. Things that I didn't even think kids would know about, I learned through my children. So don't think that it's a thankless job. Just don't put too much expectations. I put in a book that I wrote, don't expect so much. Just let them be, because you know what I thought about with my children? I thought about, what do I feel like if someone left me? No reason of my own. I have no understanding why. Didn't do anything to them. I fussed them out and they would never leave me. They fussed me out. I would never leave them. And there's a reason for that, because love is real. You know, when you love somebody, and my kids brought to me, see, they never understood what they did for me. And like I'm saying, there's a mother out there right now that want to be a mother and never had children, and you will know when that bond hits, because all of my kids hit my need. I needed to become a mother. And my husband was older than I was, and I was in a place in my life that I needed my children. And you know, the funny thing is, being a foster parent and then becoming an adopted parent, you still have to deal with all of the bad things that when the kids' families come back into their lives, they want them to feel that you kept them from them. But if you know how many classes I had to go to, if you know how many schools I had to go to and work and take care of my family and take care of them, there is no human on this earth that can tell you when a good foster parent or a good foster family has been good to you. Nobody should be able to tell you different. And people are jealous because even family members become jealous. And the reason I say that, because all of your attention now is centered around this particular group of children that you're trying to give a life to. So this is where I'm urging, I wish that I can speak to the nation to tell them how important it is. Don't let the children be left. Look at all the kids at the border where they don't have families with them. If those children have to be brought into the foster system and they brought in your home, treat them with all the love and respect, because you know what? Somebody needs your love. I know for a fact I raised 7 children. And do you know now the youngest one is about 23 years old? I can't keep up with their age because I can barely keep up with mine. But keep up with their ages, and now they have children. Now I'm a grandmother through those same 7 children. So life is funny. I wouldn't give nothing for that journey. Did I understand everything? Absolutely not. Did I make mistakes? Absolutely. Did they make mistakes? Yes. And you know what I always said? I always said that my children were carried on the outside of my womb. And that's why the experiences of life that they gave me, it was my labor pains, because I labored for them. My husband had a stroke. He had a stroke and he had cancer. I had to take care of my husband. I had to take care of my children. I had to work. I had to work every day, and I still had to love on them and be fair, cook and clean. And then when the kids get old enough that they can come back and do it for you, that's when the Grateful Dead wakes up and then decide, and they say, oh, she and he kept you from us. So be mindful. Talk to your children about even the parents that neglected them, or you can't say that they neglected them. I say to my children that they were in the best place in their life because God brought them to my house, to me and my husband. We had so many children that people would think in the neighborhood every lost kid belonged to my house. So I just say to you, the journey starts now. The journey starts today. If you had in your mind and your heart that you wanted to become a foster parent, I'll tell you like my granddaughter Autumn said, you can do it.